Emmanuel Hostin, the husband of The View host Sunny Hostin, has been accused of widespread insurance fraud, and Sunny basically admitted to it on camera. Let's talk about it.
Like my husband, operates on someone even though they don't have insurance, and then has to sue health insurance companies to get paid for the work that he's been trained his whole life to do.
The true sign of the apocalypse is someone that dumb has a law degree. So that makes Sunny Hostin, who thinks climate change caused the solar eclipse, the dumbest of them all.
Sunny Hostin just got swept into a legal storm. And guess who's leading the roast? Greg Gutfeld and Kat Timpf are serving up sarcasm hotter than Thanksgiving dinner. With a $450 million fraud case tied to her husband, the subpoenas are flying. And so are the jokes. It's the scandal that keeps on spilling and the punchlines. Even juicier than those rumored offshore accounts. Stick around. What Gutfeld and Timpf just dropped might make you question your lawyer and your reality.
You look tantalizing. You know, I make fun of The View a lot, but that's only because they keep talking. Because COVID also taught Sunny Hostin how to get her groceries delivered.
3 years, that's when I discovered Instacart, and I give them a big tip because they don't always pay their people well, and it's so that's been an issue, I think, for the company. But man, you can get toiletries, you can get fire logs.
Fire logs? She had to tell the audience that she tips big because even she knows she sounds insufferable.
Dr. Emmanuel Manny Hostin, an orthopedic surgeon and husband of The View co-host Sunny Hostin, is accused in December lawsuit fraudulently billing insurance. By the way, this is a Daily Caller story I'm reading. The lawsuit alleges Hostin knowingly provided fraudulent medical and other healthcare services in exchange for kickbacks and or compensation, and names him among nearly 200 defendants in one of New York's largest RICO cases. Wow.
Sunny Hostin probably woke up thinking it was just another day on The View. Time to play judge, jury, and moral overlord. You know the drill? A pinch of self-righteousness, a sigh of elite disapproval, and a heaping plate of unsolicited lectures for the rest of America. But plot twist, the universe had other plans. While Sunny was busy sermonizing about ethics, justice, and how the rest of us are apparently a few IQ points short of enlightenment, boom. Karma slammed the headlines like a gavel in her own courtroom. Turns out, her husband is tangled in a fraud case so massive, it makes Bernie Madoff look like a kid running a lemonade stand with IOUs.
I just want to hit myself in the face so I can feel something. You know, it's like so boring. He's like, yeah, I like Instacart, but don't worry, I tip the poors. But, you know, Joy, you actually don't like Instacart and you do like the store. And then Joy is like, yeah, I do. I like to go to the store. I like to walk around and see what's at the store, what I do want, what I don't want. Maybe I want tuna fish, and I just want to hit myself.
And Greg and Kat. Oh, they feasted on it. Gutfeld was practically licking his fingers after each punchline, carving into the scandal like it was dry-aged hypocrisy served tableside. This wasn't just another segment. It was a 5-star roast, plated on fine china with a rich reduction of smug satisfaction. As for Kat, one glance at the headline and she laughed like someone who's been saving receipts, screenshots, and snarky one-liners for just this moment.
It's about The View. It's like it's become like a medical hospital that displays human misfailure. Like it's like here, let's look at this political oddity. You know, it's like it really is like the left-wing equivalent of a carnival sideshow, except instead of bearded ladies and fat clowns and two-headed cows. Well, let me rephrase that. But The View is a victim of the sunk cost fallacy. You know, how can you now speak the truth when for years you've been telling lie after lie after lie? Now you're carrying this big bag of rocks around you because it's too harmful for their ego to admit that we really were dishonest. And they could be honest. All they would have to say is, look, we hate Trump so much. We were willing to lie about Joe Biden because we felt he was preferable. We thought our lying and our cover-up was on your behalf. Just say that. You're still scum, but at least you're an honest scum.
This wasn't breaking news to Kat. It was destiny in designer heels. She could barely hide the glee as Sunny's polished halo started to melt under the heat lamp of justice, revealing a sparkling crown of contradiction underneath. Because let's be real. If Hypocrisy were a luxury brand, The View would have franchised it years ago. And Sunny? She's been the top-selling ambassador. You can't spend your mornings serving up a fresh batch of fiery monologues on ethics and corruption. then try to tiptoe off stage when your own household starts looking like a deleted scene from The Wolf of Wall Street. That's not moral consistency, Sunny.
The witch's coven finally shows me some lovin'. Yesterday on The View, yours truly was the subject of conversation. Apparently, the broads have no idea who I am, or so they say. Hit it, Gladys.
They said that Gutfeld talks about you all the time.
Who is he? Well, really, who is he?
I don't watch the show.
He has a show.
I don't watch the
never
show.
heard of him.
Yeah.
I guess he's just obsessed with me.
No. Next, Joy's going to say she's never heard of carbs. Seriously, her denial of knowing me is as believable as her red hair. But obsession? I mean, come on, Joy. Where would you even get that idea? Like Joy Behar's face, it's looking worse and worse by the day. More full of crap than Joy Behar after a night of scotch and Taco Bell. Her being named Joy is like me being named ugly. Joy wasn't there on the show. Apparently Mondays are her days off when she feeds in the pasture. It now smells like a humid day inside Joy Behar's moo-moo.
It played out like a bad movie, plot holes and all. Only this time, the script was written by Karma and ghost-edited by Gutfeld's writing room. Craig didn't hold back. He joked that Sunny should launch a new segment called Allegedly Yours, where she dishes out hot takes from her moral high horse while ducking subpoenas like dodgeballs. Kat, with her trademark deadpan, added finally, a storyline on The View that's accidentally entertaining. If laughter really is the best medicine, Greg and Kat just handed out a year's supply to anyone still recovering from The View's usual gloom and doom therapy sessions. But this wasn't just state and fruit. They were methodically tearing down the cathedral of self-importance that The View has built over the years, piece by overpriced IKEA piece. And when that structure collapsed under the weight of its own contradictions, Greg and Kat didn't flinch. They poured a drink, raised a glass, and toasted to poetic justice, served extra spicy. Craig didn't stop at sarcasm. He built a sarcasm slip and slide and invited the whole country to ride it straight through the wreckage of Sunny's credibility. He didn't just throw shade. He launched a full-blown irony airstrike, casually reminding viewers that Sunny spent years perfecting monologues so sanctimonious they made Catholic sermons feel like TikTok sound bites.
All right, Kat, did you ever see such a group? It's amazing how Joy and Whoopi became the smart ones.
For me, the most shocking thing about the conversation was how truly boring it was. They're like, well, the cicadas, they're cicadas. Okay, but it was like every 100 years. No, it's every 17 years. Do you know how many Emmys this show has? 31.
31 Emmys.
This show has 31. I mean, I'd hate to see the conversations that don't make headlines.
Sunny's entire moral brand was sinking faster than a View panelist trying to explain economics without cue cards. Greg strutted through the chaos like a cat that knocked over a priceless vase, then coolly blamed the dog and Kat. She looked like she was having the time of her life, watching the empire of self-righteousness crumble in real time. She didn't flinch, just leaned back with that signature half-smirk that said, "Oh, this is going to be fun." Her disdain for The View is so thick, it deserves its own tax bracket, and Sunny. She's just the latest cautionary tale in a long line of public figures who mistook moral superiority for diplomatic immunity. Kat laid it all out like a science fair project gone spectacularly wrong. Her tone practically whispered, "Observe how decades of ethics cosplay collapse the moment real-life accountability peeks through the window, clipboard in hand, like a repo man on a mission." She even mocked The View's signature on-air tone, that strange cocktail of brunch gossip and courtroom drama, by suggesting their next segment be titled Financial Crimes and Finger Wagging, a guide to having it both ways.
Sausage maker Johnsonville is recalling more than 42,000 pounds of pork sausage for possible contamination with plastic fibers. Fortunately, authorities were able to track all 42,000 pounds to a single location in New York City.
Greg, never one to miss a punchline, floated the idea that Sunny's next segment should come with a spinning game show wheel. Today's hot topic: fraud, privilege, or selective outrage. Spin to find out what we're conveniently ignoring. Meanwhile, backstage, pure chaos. Imagine a live-action soap opera colliding with a crisis PR seminar, taught by unpaid interns. Cue the burning cue cards, teleprompters glitching from moral whiplash, and producers hissing into earpieces. For the love of ratings, someone mentioned Meghan Markle. Anything to distract from the $450 million elephant doing the cha-cha through our glass house of televised virtue. And let's not forget the co-hosts, the same crew who can detect a GOP parking violation from 6 time zones away. But when one of their own is caught in a multi-million-dollar scandal, suddenly it's all, let's respect our privacy, and we're focusing on love and light today. Translation. We hired lawyers, and no one's touching this with a Joy Behar monologue. Greg, of course, was practically glowing. This scandal was like handing a flamethrower to a guy already juggling fireworks. And Kat, she looked like she was watching the season finale of her favorite reality show. Only in this episode, the fake houseplants are suing for defamation.
No, I'm also not surprised that there's one part of the video from the show yesterday that you left out.
Oh, really?
Yeah, can we roll that, please?
I don't watch the show that much, but I've seen it.
Who is that? Who is that?
Greg Gutfeld's one of the hosts of The Five, who, if I don't have anything nice to say, I generally don't say anything at all. I would just say this, his show should be called Kat Timpf, not Gutfeld, because she's the funny one on it.
Somebody's flirting with little Kat over here.
Well, she's the Republican one at the table, but I just think as a libertarian, I'm always looking to find common ground with other people because nobody really shares my politics. So I find some common ground in The View where she thinks I'm funny and I agree.
There you go.
They knew this wasn't just a Sunny Hostin meltdown. It was an entire media ecosystem tripping over its own smutness and face-planting into a pit of tired platitudes. As The View scrambled into full damage control mode, Gutfeld and Kat fired up their sarcasm engines and went full throttle. Because when your show operates like a sanctimony factory, and one of its founding forewomen gets dragged into a fraud scandal, it's not just a credibility crisis. It's a full-scale, moral GPS failure, and in Sunny's case, that GPS needs to have been recalibrated to avoid Accountability Boulevard. Instead, take a hard left down deflection lane. By now, Greg and Kat weren't just criticizing a talk show. They were poking a bloated, gasping balloon of a leak hypocrisy just to hear it wheeze out its final, desperate puffs of self-righteousness. And America? Oh, America was watching. Popcorn in hand, front row seats secured, wondering how The View was going to spin this mess without accidentally inventing a whole new genre of fiction. Naturally, Gutfeld took it one step further. He didn't just laugh. He turned it into a case study in accidental self-parody. He mocked The View's weekly sermons, the ones where the right is painted as greedy, corrupt, and basically evil incarnate, before pointing out the glaring irony. While they were busy moralizing, Sunny's own financial fairy tale had quietly transformed into a full-blown courtroom drama.
People have to wonder, where does Sunny Hostin get her opinions?
Yeah.
Like you said, and it's obviously from her husband. She has to tell her what to say on The View, because without it, she's got nothing up there. She's not very bright. But the problem with her is that she went full racist. She injected skin color into a fairly generic behavior seen in all spouses, regardless of skin color. People marry, they listen to each other, they have something in common with them, they share their political views. She just didn't want to upset her husband by saying her husband makes her do everything, and then she'd have to accuse him of being a racist. Because if he told her that this is what white women do, then he's a racist. You see?
And the kicker? The sheer scale of the alleged fraud. This wasn't some parking ticket or a minor tax slip-up. This was a figure so staggering, it'd make even Wall Street CEOs nod in wicked admiration. Kat, never one to miss a chance to break the fourth wall of media hypocrisy, pointed out how The View somehow skipped over their own co-host scandal with none of the fire and fury they'd unleash if, say, a conservative sneezed in the wrong tone. No panel debates. No dramatic sting music. Just a quiet shuffle to the next topic.
You know who just stunk up The View. The Bidens joined The View this morning for the entire hour. The audience was caught off guard, but knew something was up when they saw a dozen Secret Service agents and 2 embalmers. There were a few awkward moments, though, when a confused Joe asked if he could bid on the showcase. But was he surprised Kamala lost?
As if a $450 million fraud case was nothing more than a minor wardrobe malfunction. Imagine if this were someone on the right. Meghan McCain would have been tied to a stake and burned live on ABC by now. Greg, in his usual cheeky style, compared it to irony packing its bags, moving to Manhattan, and snagging front row seats to The View. Kat topped it off by highlighting the deafening silence from Sunny herself. No grand speeches, no heartfelt soliloquies about justice prevailing, just radio silence.
Easy. Oh. That's not what I read. The true sign of the apocalypse is someone that dumb has a law degree. Worse, if your name has the word sun in it, there's no excuse for not knowing how an eclipse works. But it's no surprise that Joy is the one who understands science. She's been on the science diet for years. They're turning on me. So that makes Sunny Hostin, who thinks climate change caused the solar eclipse, the dumbest of them all. Because everyone knows the moon caused the eclipse, which is controlled by The View's gravitational pull.